Had the Bulls stayed together with the Bulls on that three-peat run, would they have won the 99 NBA Finals? I say yes.
And I'm going to tell you why. That was the strike season, so they had to play but so much. So they would have been well rested, and that four-peat would have been easy. I'm just going to leave it at that. And your uncle really don't know nothing if he can't agree with that.
I don't know about easy, but the lockout definitely. We only had 50 games that season, so the lockout definitely would have played a role. But I think that the core of that team was still elite. I mean, they may have been older, but I don't think that there was anything or any team in that season, from what I saw. What Tim Duncan was season 2, the Admiral and all that team and all that stuff. I don't see them as being unbeatable. I think that the core system with Phil Jackson and the triangle, I think that stuff would have still worked, and Michael Jordan would have took him over the top.
So I gotta agree. I think that the Bulls would have been able to do it. One, Scottie Pippen with the lockout season would have been actually healthy, I think, throughout the season and for the playoff run. He wasn't in that 98 championship run. If they could have kept all the bodies together, I think the rest would have helped them since they were the oldest team in the league. When you look at the teams in the East...
Oh, that's cold. That's dirty work right there. That's dirty work.
Well, I'm just
that's dirty. That's dirty.
That
was underhanded at its finest.
They were like one of the oldest teams, man.
Man, that was dirty. That was dirty work. But go ahead.
They would have had to beat to get to the finals. They would have had to beat the Knicks, who went there, and that was an emerging Latrell Sprewell. But I think Jordan would have been able to get the better of Latrell Sprewell. They would have had to beat the Pacers, Reggie Miller, but Jordan had done that before. And then once they got there, they would have had to beat the Spurs, who, I think they would have been able to do it. Based on the track record of what they were able to do, I think they would have been able to go on and win 4. The only thing that would have stopped them is an injury due to attrition. But other than that, I see them being healthy, and I see them winning in 99 and being the first, real four-peat in the modern era.
I agree. Defensively, I think Dennis Rodman knew how to get up under everybody's. Just take them out the game. He knew how to take them out the game and irritate them. And I know he would have irritated the Admiral.
Yeah.
I know he would have. And that would have thrown everything out of sync.
The role players of that team, we talking about Ron Harper, Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr. Them guys are crafty, man. They would have still, and like you said, Dennis Rodman, older, but still crashing the board with the best of them. I think they would have still they had the championship experience. They were still, smart. They were playoff tested. And I think they would have hit down some big shots. And hitting those big shots late in the game in a championship series against, again, a second-year Tim Duncan team really haven't been dominating. Yeah, later, but at this time, they hadn't gotten their footing yet. I think they could have taken another one and been the first four-peat team.
Totally agree.
Because, David Robinson would have stayed in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And back then, the big man was very important.
So he stitched up in the left hand doing all this.
Oh! It's over! You had to have the big dude.
I would have loved to see
Sean Elliott. Yeah, Sean Elliott was up and down in his career, so definitely Scottie Pippen can easily lock him down on those shots. It would have been a 4-2 series.
I think it would have been great to see Phil Jackson's triangle with Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Ron Harper running that triangle against the Twin Towers at their peak, Dave Robinson and Tim Duncan. It would have been very interesting to see that. I think, the experience would have got the better of Tim Duncan, and they would have just worn David Robinson down trying to keep up in scoring with Jordan. I think he would have had a couple of explosions in that series, a couple 50 pieces. So those are 2 wins right there. I think their defense, their ability to protect the ball, I think they would have just been locked in. The only thing that could have beaten them is themselves or injuries.
I mean, I think the real opponents was ego. Phil Jackson was ready to bounce. Michael Jordan wouldn't play without Phil. You know,
And
Scotty.
but the GM too. The
And
GM
Rodman
didn't
was
want to do it.
Jared,
Yeah.
Hold on now.
Jared Krause was it? Jared
it was
Krause
Jerry
messed that
Krause.
whole beat up.
They didn't want to pay Phil and anybody anymore. The Last Dance, Jerry Krause said this is the last one. And he didn't want to keep the team together. He didn't want to go for the historic 4, which, you know, would have basically made it impossible for anybody now to surpass Jordan if they would have did a 3-peat followed by a 4-peat. That's, I mean, good grief. But, you know, look, that's why I said ownership and management matters. If they can't keep it together, absolutely. If their egos get in the way, they can break things down and make it not happen. But if they would have made the right decision, I think the Chicago Bulls would be sitting there holding up 4 fingers.
And I can tell you this one.
Ring number 7, straight up. If they stayed together, ring number 7, no question.
Now, and also NBA history would have been altered as far as Jordan's career. I truly think that if they would kept the team together in that 99 season, he would not have went and played for the Wizards. I think he would literally retired as a Bull and then went into ownership. I don't think he'd have went back on the court.
Well, hey, listen, it seems like we all agree on that. And here's another thing I just want to add before we move on. It's crazy how the Bulls could have potentially had 9 rings.
Yep.
They could have potentially had 9 straight rings.
But don't ask Hakeem Olajuwon about that. He would say he would beg to differ.